Hello, my friends. Good morning. Once again, welcome to another edition of Behind the Mic. My name is Mike Avery, here in the Outdoor Magazine radio studio, getting ready to record this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show, a 3-hour weekly adventure into the history and tradition of the outdoors in the great state of Michigan and occasionally beyond. Let me answer this text right here. Yes, John. Yes, we will. There. Cliff, good morning. How are you? Davina. Hey, Ross. How you doing, buddy? Really excited for you, Ross. Johnny Bowler, the Bear Whisperer. Good morning, Johnny. How are you, buddy? Paul, good morning. Stephen, good morning. Ken, good morning. Who's that? Martin, good morning. How are you? Bruce, nice to have you along with us on this edition of Behind the Mic. Johnny says, Mike, what day is it? What day is it, my friends? It's not Monday. It's not Tuesday. It's June 1st. It's June 1st. Also known as Hump Day. Good morning, Jim. Good morning, Jerry. A great spring. I know it. Did you see the bear that Nick Grillo of Michigan Brand Meat shot? I'm not going to steal Nick's thunder, but he shot a very unusual and very pretty bear up there. Today, Cliff says today is the last day to apply for elk and bear points. Yeah, I was thinking it was actually yesterday, but I believe you're right, Cliff. Yeah, thank you for that. It is almost Walleye for Warriors weekend. Beautiful bear indeed, hey? Good morning, Kevin. Nice to have you along with us as well. I'm here in the Outdoor Magazine radio studio to record this week's show that airs on more than 30 stations across the great state of Michigan. My camera's a little bit I say a camera, right? It's my phone. I use my phone as a camera, a very nice camera. What about the Angler Quest? It's June 1st. What about it, Scott? What about it? Apparently, you've been too busy to watch my posts. I have an Angler Quest. It's on the water. I have fished. Oh, I didn't see that. Laura shot a nice one, too. I didn't see that. I forgot she was up there. Did Cody Norton, the DNR carnivore specialist, did he shoot his? Morning, Carl. Of course, we will be up there with Ron on August 15th. Scott Hand, I have an Angler Quest. It is a loner Angler Quest until mine is done. I will probably be fishing Walleye for Warriors out of that loner boat. It's an 2022 85-26 Pro Troll Angler Quest. It's 26 feet long. It's 8.5 feet wide. And my slip is 10 feet wide. So I have 9 inches on each side as I bring it into the slip, which is not a problem. Unless it's blowing pretty hard. Laura says they're looking for Cody's bear this morning. So apparently Cody hit a bear last night, and they're out looking for it this morning. Thank you, Laura. Laura, I did not see the picture. Show me the picture. Laura, let's see a picture of your bear. Tony says, no fishing today, wind too rough. I was out there Monday morning. I got out there at daylight, and it was already blowing at daylight, but I knew where I was going to fish. I knew I would be protected in anything other than a south wind. I was going to be protected. I went into my beloved Skinny Water. And I mean, I didn't have a bait in the water 10 seconds and I had a fish. I thought, oh boy, here we go. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay. I'll get to those stories later. Ed, good morning. How are you? Ed says he's at Linwood Beach right now. Not too bad there. Where are you going to fish, Ed? What are your coordinates, Ed? Let's back up a step here. It is June 1st. Welcome to the month of June. Sure felt like summer the last few days, didn't it? Turkey season is over. I did not get my bird. It was a very interesting year. Didn't get a bird this year. Didn't even have an opportunity. I will go out to my buddy Doug's farm after I get off the air today, and I'll pick up my blinds. I've got 2 Wraith 270 blinds all set up. I will take them down. I stashed a couple of chairs, some decoys in those blinds, and I'll back out of there, and I won't pop those blinds back up now until I go to White River to bear hunt with Ron St. Louis of Northern Wilderness Bear Outfitters. Scott says it's like trying to dock a sailboat when it's windy. Spin that wheel and pray you're lined up. Yeah. And can you imagine another 6 inches of width on that boat, Scott? This new boat that I have does have a new, well, it's the new design. I don't have a bimini on this loaner, which I'm praying my new boat gets done soon because, as everybody knows, it can get hot on the water on a hot, muggy day when there's no wind. If you don't have shade to get out of that sun, it can be brutal. In the meantime, I did order a jury-rigged bimini that I can use if I have to, but I prefer not to ever have to put it up. Anyway, didn't get my turkey. Disappointing. I'm hoping and praying that this season didn't mark the beginning of what turkey season could be in Michigan in the future. How's the grandson doing with the trap shooting? They are done now till the state shoot that is June 17th in Mason. I got a card from the Ontario DNR the other day that said, I saw it, Ross. I saw it. That said they were not able to age my bear that I shot in White River last August. They said it was either an incomplete or decayed tooth. So they couldn't tell me the age. I did shoot. Yeah, well, so I'm not alone, Raver Bay? A 16-year-old sow up there a few years ago, and I was thinking this bear I shot was probably 12 years old or so. What else? Did you see we have a new state record flathead catfish? 53 plus pounds caught out of the St. Joe River by Lloyd Tanner. And the thing about Lloyd is he is a hardcore cat fisherman. Good morning, Josh. How are you? He targets cats. In fact, I've never met the guy, but just looking at him online, he's a guy I'd like to get on the radio show maybe next week to talk about catfishing in general and the story of this state record catfish. This guy is a catfishing aficionado. Catfish aficionado. Get it? Even Pat's smirking about that one. He released that fish in the St. Joe. He's an Indiana guy, but he came to the St. Joe River to target cats. And he was fishing, I believe, in a catfish tournament. There's a story here. I won't comment on it, but you can read Scott Hand's post there. His maybe we'll be able to follow up on that. Maybe not. Next Wednesday night, 1 week from tonight, our Wednesday night live will be at the Brenton USA factory in Lansing. They make AR-15 style hunting rifles just down the road from the governor's office. If she knew that, she probably couldn't sleep at night because she's too busy worried about fixing the damn roads. Oh, wait, she never did fix them. And we haven't heard anything about that lately, have we? Isn't that interesting? Where I will take delivery of the 350 Legend that I have on order. I can't wait to get my hands on that. I think I'm going to try to shoot my Michigan bear with that Michigan made gun. And here's the big news of the morning. I'm going to fish Friday morning. What is just messed up when 19 kids died? It's a terrible, absolute tragedy that 19 kids died. It's a sin. It's against the law. It's a travesty. It's terrible. But the gun didn't have anything to do with it. Right? Guns are neither evil or good. Guns are a tool. They're like a hammer. You put a hammer in the hands of somebody who is evil and mentally challenged or mentally deranged, and they can do damage. You put a hammer in 90% of the population's hands, 99% of the population, and they'll use it for good. It's just a tool. Guns are not evil. Guns are a tool. Evil is evil. Paul says, lots of birds, but the downstate birds are not. Walleye are jumping. This is the interesting point. Walleye are jumping in the boat out in the bay, which leads me to my comment, to my topic here, my point that I want to make. When I head out on the water Friday morning, I think I'll be fishing with my buddy Tony Sovey, who will be my first mate at Walleye for Warriors. It's like a stone. Think of a biblical story with somebody got killed by a stone, or a couple of stories. Was the stone evil? Did God punish the stone? I'm going to fish with night crawlers Friday. I joke around a lot about crawlers. I mean, I joke around a lot about crawlers, and I really don't like night crawlers. I would prefer not to fish with night crawlers. And you know how guys are, we bust each other's chops. So I'm always busting people's chops about fishing with crawlers, both in person, here online, and on the air. But I'm going to fish with crawlers Friday. I've never learned how to fish with night crawlers, and I want to learn. The crawler bite on Saginaw Bay is so good right now that I want to take advantage of it, but I don't know how because I've never learned how. People say, oh, Avery's too good for crawlers. He's too cool for crawlers. I don't know how you can be too good or too cool for a fishing technique. I joke around about it because it's something to have fun with, right? But the crawler bite on Saginaw Bay is so hot right now that I want to take advantage of it. That's Cliff makes a good point. He says you can use crawlers on this one because it's not your boat. It's a loaner boat. Maybe that's my out. Craig says fishing with crawlers is like hunting with a recurve. It's simple and it's basic. I tell you, the thing that is going to drive me crazy about fishing with crawlers is this 1 mile an hour. That's I joke around about them being dirty and such. Yeah, wash them off with a hose. I get that. But I like to cover water. I like to troll 2.5, 3 miles an hour, look for active fish, and cover water. The thing that's going to drive me crazy about fishing with crawlers is this putzing along at 1 mile an hour. But I know they work and I know they're effective. So I'm gonna give them yes, hell did indeed freeze over. Hey, Art, how are you? Craig says he goes 1.4 to 1.6 with crawlers. Well, that would help, Craig. Let me ask you this, Craig. How are you getting those down? Are you using tadpoles? Are you using bottom bouncers? Are you using inline weights? That's what I don't know. But as I fish with Tony on Monday or Friday, Tony is a crawler guy, and he'll show me how. If I can catch fish on cranks, I'll do it. And I did catch fish on Monday. But you take him down with a tadpole. Well, see, that's something I can relate to. Get him down with a tadpole. Offshore tackle tadpole. So let me ask you this, guys. I hear about spinners and I hear about crawler harnesses. Is there a difference or are they the same thing? Power worms. Well, see, that's a crawler harness. Jim says the power worms. See, this is interesting. Ed's running inline weights today. If I could use the power worms or the Berkeley plastic baits, I would be very interested in that. That's an interesting concept. I might do that. Scott says put him in the live well first. Brian Miller, who is a friend of mine, who just a couple of boats down in the marina, he's experimenting with those plastic crawlers. I might do that. 2 ounce weight, free spool it to the bottom and close the bail, put on the board, just like fishing bottom bouncers. I know how to do that. Johnny says we're all filled up for Ohio. Yes, we are. We are all filled up for Ohio. Harnesses. So do I go to Jay's or Frank's and buy harnesses? Are they? I don't know. I need to learn more. Again, it's because the crawler bite on Saginaw Bay is so good right now that I do want to take advantage of it. Use a tadpole. You can be selective in your depths. See, I like fishing tadpoles, offshore tadpoles. I like fishing tadpoles. The different sizes, the different distance back from your boards. Like you say, Jim, you can dial in the depth that you want them at. But here's old school, an F4 flatfish with a half a crawler at 1.5 miles an hour. That's talk about tradition and simple and old school. Right there is old school. A flatfish. Jim says YouTube it. If you want to learn about anything, you YouTube it, right? When I was on the water Monday, because I've got a loaner boat and I've got electronics, I've got a graph that I'm not used to. It is a Lowrance HDS 12 Live, so it's a beautiful rig. But I needed to put my digital displays up on the screen. I wanted to be able to see a digital display of my depth, my speed, and my water temp. And so I'm like, I couldn't quite remember how to do it, right? So I go to YouTube. Boom, there in 30 seconds. I'm like, oh, that's right. That's how you do it. You go into you hit your power button and it brings up a screen. And on that screen is a bunch of options, including edit overlay. Daryl says up in White River, up in Ontario, they use leeches at 2.2 miles an hour on 5-foot harness. How is the mayfly hatch on the bay? Brian, when I was out there Sunday and Monday, it was too windy to know. Craig says 2-ounce weight is 1 foot down for every foot of line you fish any depth. Well, I have the Precision Trolling app on my phone, so I can be scientific. 2-ounce weight is 1 foot down for every foot of line you let out. That's a good thing to keep in mind. It's like fishing lead core. For every color of lead core at the speeds we're trolling, it's about 4 feet down. But I can't say I'm excited, but I am intrigued about learning how to fish crawlers. What if I told you that I'd been using crawlers all along, and this whole thing of busting people's chops about crawlers was just something to have fun and something to joke about and something to fill time on the air? What if I told you that? Craig says 3 feet of line out. Hey, while we got a little break here, let me tell you who's coming up on the show this week. We're going to start out talking with John Roby of Chase and Tail Charter up by the Straits. I'm just saying, Randy, what if this whole thing has just been something to have fun with? John Roby of Chase and Tail Charter talking about fishing the Straits. Jeff says he wouldn't believe it. Hey, Jeff, when are you and Karen heading down to Florida for your gator hunt? And congrats on those tags. Mad Jack says he would not believe it. Jeff says he wouldn't believe it. John Roby talking about chasing king, not so much kings, but lake trout pretty much right now. A few salmon, maybe some Atlantic. September, you're going down. Okay, here's some. Scott says they caught 48 fish in 2 days last weekend northeast of my skinny water over on Callahan. Number 7 and 9 flicker minnows, H black brass. 100. So did black brass? So you did so you didn't use any crawlers, Scott. If you were northeast of my skinny water, you were on Callahan. Exactly. Use whatever works. And right now the crawler bite is so hot, I'm willing to give it a try. Anyway, and then Tom Zelenka, he's a startup guy. He's got an adjustable red dot system for your bow that is good for aging eyes. He's going to talk about that briefly. And then in hour number 2, I'm looking forward to this. My buddy Paul Phillips, who is undeniably one of the best extreme long-range shooters in the world. In fact, he is ranked in the world number 1 in the King of 1 Mile and number 5 in the King of 2 Mile. He will be on the show. More north than east. Yeah, Ross, I am. All right, Johnny, have a good day. The bite is so good right now. I want to experiment. I want to learn about it. I want to take advantage of it. You know me. If I can catch a fish on a crankbait, I'm going to do it. But they are catching so many fish right now on crawlers. Sal says, that makes sense. I have those crawler picking stories when I was a kid. Yeah, Ross, and we'll see when you guys get out with me. I would suspect, Ross, that by the time you get down to fish with me, I'll be back on crankbaits. But for right now, for Friday, I'm going to try crawlers so I can learn how to use them. 15 seconds. Wow, I got to get to work here. All right, guys and gals, in 15 seconds, ladies, we're going to start recording this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show. So I'm going to change the interaction here. I will not be able to directly interact with you. One blast off. Okay. That means I've got to officially go to work instead of just having fun. Not that what I'm doing isn't fun. The only fun thing about today is going to be it's going to get hot here in the studio. But thank God that it's not going to be 90 today. So Pat said Pat says he was in his underwear yesterday working in here. Now, I wasn't here, so I can't prove it, and it's okay. Join me tonight if you can, 7 o'clock for another edition of Wednesday Night Live. And of course, next Wednesday for Wednesday Night Live, we're going to be live at the Brenton USA factory in Lansing. Brenton USA Hunting Rifles. All right. Have a good day, my friends. Thanks for joining me on this edition of Behind the Mic. Well, thank you, Ken Hunter, and welcome to another edition of the Outdoor Magazine show right here on the Outdoor Magazine Radio Network. More than 30 stations across the great state of Michigan dedicated to covering the outdoors, the history and tradition of the outdoor lifestyle here in the state of Michigan, the great state of Michigan, and occasionally beyond. We talk about hunting and fishing and shooting and trapping and conservation issues and wildlife issues and even some wild game cooking. If you're new to the show, thank you. I appreciate you joining us. There's a lot of content out there these days, a lot of things you could be listening to, you could be watching that take up your time, your very, very valuable time. So the fact that you are hearing my voice, the broadcast version of the show, or maybe the podcast version of the show, thank you very much. I do think the best way to listen, if you can, is on your local broadcast station. So what is going on here? It's June. It's the first weekend in June. What does that mean? Well, it means turkey season is finally over here in Michigan. It was a long season, and I never did get my bird. I never even had a shot at a bird this year. I only saw 2 longbeards. Could have been the same bird. Heard very few gobbles, and that's okay. The thing that has me concerned is I hope this is not a sign of the future of turkey hunting in Michigan, because I heard the same thing from a lot of people. I'm not going to talk about it ad nauseum again this week, but I am concerned about turkey numbers in Michigan. I got a postcard from my friends in Ontario yesterday from the Ontario Ministry of Natural Resources, which gets your attention right there. It's like, what did I do wrong? But this was just a card telling me they were not able to age the bear that I shot in White River, Ontario last August, hunting with Ron St. Louis of Northern Wilderness Bear Outfitters. They said it was an incomplete sample. Maybe it was a decayed tooth, maybe it was a broken tooth, but they weren't able to age that bear, which is, kind of disappointing. It's always nice to know how old these critters are. I think the oldest bear I've ever shot up there was a sow, and she was 16 years old. She was 260 pounds, a 16-year-old sow. Now, I've shot a couple of what I consider to be good-sized boars over 300 pounds. How old were they? I don't remember the age on those. I don't remember the age. I will be back up there again, though, very soon now. I mean, a couple of months away in the middle of August to hunt bears. And I hope we will know July 6th whether we got our Michigan bear tags or our Michigan elk tags. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something to find out that you got a Michigan elk tag? And let's take it to the next level. Find out it's a bull tag, which is it's an either sex tag, right? But if you get an either sex Michigan elk tag, what are you going to shoot? What are you going to try to shoot? What are you going to target? A bull, right? I have no idea where I would put a mount for a bull elk rack. They're huge, but it sure would be fun. Hunt of a lifetime, maybe. Did you see we have a new state record Michigan flathead catfish? 53 pounds and change. Now think about this. A 50-pound fish. That is a big fish. It was caught out of the St. Joe River by an Indiana guy named Lloyd Tanner. Now, Lloyd, I've never met, but I'm doing some research on him online. This guy is a hardcore catfish guy. He targets cats. He targets big catfish. In fact, I think he was fishing a catfish tournament when he caught that 53-pound and change flathead out of the St. Joe River. I would love to get Lloyd on the radio show here to talk about that fish in particular. Of course, any state record fish is worthy of a radio conversation for sure, but his catfishing in general. This guy he released this fish. He is a true conservationist. Yes, he said, I wanted to catch a state record fish, but I wanted to let it go so somebody else could catch it in the future. So I'd love to talk with Lloyd about that. And I have put in a request. So if you know Lloyd, say, hey, Avery's trying to get in touch with you. I'd love to have you on the show. What else? Oh. I have an angler quest. It's in the slip right now. It's a loaner boat. It's a prototype boat. It's one of the first 2022 models that they made there in St. Louis with the new design. So it's an 80, what do they call it? 84. We used to call them 826. But now it's an 845. No, 86. I don't know what it is. It's 26 feet long and it's 8.5 feet wide. And it's the new model. And it's a beautiful boat. I can tell that it's a little bit wider because when I went to bring an 8.5 foot boat into my 10-foot wide slip, I'm like, this is a little bit tighter than it was. And it's not a problem as long as the wind's not blowing. I'm looking forward to the first day I bring that boat in there single-handed in about a 30-mile-an-hour south wind. My slip is protected, but it'll be interesting. Beautiful boat. I'm still waiting for the boat that is what I'm going to run for the next couple of years. So this is a loaner boat. It's a prototype. Thank you, Brad Dupuis of Angler Quest, because to be honest with you, I think this is a boat that Brad should be running right now. I think Brad Dupuis, Mr. Angler Quest himself, is putting in food plots right now instead of fishing because he graciously allowed me to use this boat for a couple of weeks while we're waiting for my other one. What a stand-up guy. What a thing to do, Brad. What a gracious thing to do. And I do certainly appreciate it, Brad. So I've been out fishing a couple of times since by the time you hear this show. The first time out was a real quick shakedown cruise. It's a new boat to me, right? So it's a different electronic setup. I had to figure out how it's going to fish. So I wanted to go out there by myself, just run a few lines and just work it out. And I caught fish. I caught actually quite a few fish. Some nice walleye. I didn't have a bait in the water probably 15 seconds and caught my first fish in my beloved skinny water. The water clarity was great. That was a number 7 flicker shad. And I put it 60 feet back, and before I could put it on a board, I had a fish on. I thought, this is what I miss. This is why I'm glad to be back up there. Nice pike and jumbo perch in there as well. And it was blowing hard. But the Angler Quest is a big, beautiful, stable platform, and I was tucked in close to shore, so I wasn't worried about it. Here's the thing that I think you may find interesting. The next time I will be on the water on Saginaw Bay, I plan to run night crawlers. Crawlers. Why? Avery, you talk about crawlers, the fact that you don't like them. Yeah, I know. And I don't. I would prefer to catch a walleye on a spoon or a crankbait anytime. But the crawler bite on Saginaw Bay is so hot right now. I want to take advantage of it. The problem is I don't know how. I don't know how to fish crawlers. So my buddy Tony Sovey, who is a crawler guy, we're going to go out here 2 days from today, weather permitting, and he's going to give me an on the water clinic on how to fish crawlers. And I'm going to see. It's something I do need to learn. It's not going to be my main plan of attack, I suspect, but it'll be nice to have that in my toolkit. And people say, "Oh, Avery, you've talked so bad about crawlers." Listen, guys bust each other's chops. And that's something that I love to bust people's chops about. You can't bring a crawler on my Angler Quest. No. It's fun to joke about things like that. No, I know. They are dirty and they are slimy, and I don't like them. But I'll use the wash down hose on the boat and I'll wash them all off and I'll put them clean on. Listen, if I could figure out how to run spinners or what we used to call crawler harnesses and put those fake crawlers on them, the Berkeley power baits or whatever, that I would try that. In fact, I think I will try that. I think I'll get some of those and give it a try. So we'll see. We'll see. It's just the fishing is so good on a crawler bite right now. I want to experience it and I want to give it a try. I don't think it'll be my main go-to method of fishing, that's for sure. Hey, this Wednesday coming up, the 8th at 7 o'clock, we're going to do a Wednesday night live on my social media platforms from the Brenton USA factory in Lansing. BrentonUSA.com, BrentonUSA.com. AR style hunting rifles, highly accurate hunting rifles, and I'm gonna pick up that 350 Legend that I've had on order for a while. I'm really looking forward to checking that out. All right, so the rundown for this week's show coming up after the break. We're going to talk with John Roby of Chase and Tail Charters at the Straits. A very interesting fishery. Wouldn't it be cool to troll under the Big Mac Bridge? Well, John does that routinely. Tim Zelenka from Adjustable Red Dot. It's a sighting system for people with aging eyes and your compound bow, so you don't have to use a peep sight. In hour number 2, one of the best extreme long-range shooters in the world, and now it's documented, Paul Phillips. He's ranked number 1 in the world in the King of 1 Mile, number 5 in the King of 2 Mile, and he's a Michigan guy. And then in hour number 3, we're talking fishing with Mark Martin, and Dave Miner has another great wild game recipe. All coming up this week right here on Outdoor Magazine. Let me check out some of these comments here. Mad Jack says, I'll have to have you to next weekend and see if he remembers a few. Yes, Mad Jack. Steve says, you need to get Brad back out and put him on another clinic on spoon walleye. Awesome. He is a really good spoon fisherman, for sure. All right, my friends, I'm going to turn some of these lights down. I don't think they're generating much heat, but we don't want any more heat than we have to in here today. Have a great day. And if you can, please join me tonight at 7 o'clock for another edition of Wednesday Night Live. Have a good day, my friends.